tournament?
Yeah, I'm the goalkeeper.
Remember, we have a reputation to maintain.
Brenda Bigland has been head teacher at Lent Rise Primary in Buckinghamshire for over 15 years, and she's made ICT central to her school improvement success.
I think what we're trying to do at Lent Rise School is to turn it into a hub of learning, not just for children, but for a whole community. And ICT has obviously been hugely instrumental in that. So this is about 21st century learning, but involving a community, not just the pupils in a school.
Lent Rise is an outstanding primary school and has had many awards and international recognition for its work, particularly in leadership. Brenda believes that the integration of ICT throughout the school was a key factor to this success. Here we'll see some of the many ways they use technology for learning and teaching, Brenda's distributive approach to building leadership within the school, and how they use ICT to build a broader learning community beyond the school gates. This is the story of their journey.
Whistle, go!
When Brenda first started in 1994, the school had a falling roll and only a handful of outdated computers.
I think the thing is when you start with 3 BBCs and no internet, and you've got over 300 children in the building, for me it was important that we actually put some more computer technology in, so we just went for computers. And we put internet connectivity in one room, because at that stage, that's all I could afford. And I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but the next step we took was into video conferencing.
So does anyone know anything about me yet?
You're an Olympic athlete, brother.
Today the Year 5s are talking to Paralympic 800-metre champion Danny Crates.
What is it like walking onto the track?
When you walk onto the track for a big race, it's really, really scary.
The school first got this equipment in 1998.
I saw a sheet come across my desk from a company that wanted to sell video conferencing. So I rang them and said, look, I think this would be fabulous in primary education. Have you got many primary schools doing this yet? And the answer was no. So I negotiated with them that we would show them how it could be done in a primary school if they would come and train us and work with us. And that became the kind of partnership that has lasted for 12 years.
How many of you have ever seen an Olympic medal before? Well, here's the goal. I'm afraid you won't be able to hold this one.
Really exciting to speak to Danny because you wouldn't really go face to face with an Olympic athlete or a Paralympian, but we were quite lucky.
We have talked to sports personalities. We've talked to Europe. We've practiced French by speaking to children in France. Real learning.
You could all make Olympians.
Thank you very much. I have to give away.
The next step was to put internet connectivity throughout the school.
The rationale for that was not just to use, say, laptops or whatever in the classrooms. It was because I had already seen the birth of the interactive board.
I wonder if that's Sarah, Percy or Bill.
So I then went out and found a provider and worked with that provider, and instead of putting just interactive boards in year 5 and 6, we put them in every classroom. That was a huge cost to the school.
Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to all go and have a go at doing it on the computer.
Jill Watson, one of 3 assistant head teachers, is early years coordinator and school improvement manager for ICT.
One of the reasons that we've planned this session this morning, it gets them into the keys mouse skills, it gets them thinking about making their own storybooks, get them excited about telling stories and then reading them back. And as you can see, they are really enjoying it. Learning that clicking a button does this and does that. I mean, it's just fabulous.
Say, it's going backwards.
For some people, they think, well, why would you want to do it to a 4-year-old? But actually, if a 4-year-old starts with confidence, they can conquer the world by the time they're 11.
So we've got our cameramen, we've got our owls.
Then we started to think of the tools that would work with the interactive board. So then other things came on board, webcams, visualizers. So what we've done is to create a pocket of technology in every single classroom.
That's our story, do you remember that? Children actually love bringing the cameras in. I use it as an appraisal tool so we can watch it back and we can say, oh, what could have we made better there?
So they're on their branch. What happens after they're on their branch?
I made sure that if I brought anything new into the school, everybody was trained. So it wasn't a question of training one person, we trained an entire staff.
We read this one. It says Sarah, Percy, Bill and Mummy Lucy. Which picture does that go with?
So every time something is brought into the picture, we evaluate it, we check about what impact we're seeking from it, and we actually start being people who can support each other and take things forward.
Lent-Rise has a very mixed intake. Overall, pupils start with below average attainment, and about a third of pupils have special educational needs.
Let's have... Should we have Mike TV?
Jo Ray is another of the assistant heads and is Key Stage 1 manager and the school's Senko.
Are you ready?
Today her Year 2 class is working on a news report.
Hello there, what is your name? Mike TV. What are you looking forward to? Eating all the machines and having all my chocolate bars.
For children of all levels and abilities, it gives it a real purpose. They know that they were doing a report for somebody, they can watch it, they can show it to other people, rather than just an exercise where they're writing something in their book or they're just talking to each other.
Now all teachers in the school are expected to integrate ICT into their lessons, but this did not happen overnight.
So now we're going to move on to play scripts.
Key Stage 2 manager Simon Ashby, the third of the assistant head teachers, has been at the school since 1994.
It's completely different to how it was when I first started.
I'm very angry with you.
In particular, the introduction of the interactive whiteboards in order to set up all our lessons. The first year I was working all weekends at it, but the payoff the following year is slightly easier because you've got sort of the basis and then all you've got to do is work on it and adapt it for that particular year group.
If we're doing PowerPoint presentations, we're going to need some laptops for them to do their presentations.
Brenda believes that continuing professional development of the staff is crucial. Jill runs planning sessions with teachers to maintain effective use of ICT.
Survey, so tally the colours of the cars that go past.
Photograph everything that went past would probably be a bit too much, wouldn't it?
too
But you could
difficult.
video and then they
Yeah.
could come and analyse it inside, couldn't they?
Yeah.
It's not just about training new staff that we get in, it's empowering the staff that we've already got to use new resources or to use the resources that we have or that they think might only be suitable for Key Stage 2 children, Key Stage 1 children, vice versa. And it's like, well, actually, no, this is going to work really well if you have a go at doing this and, you know, try it with the group and then maybe roll it out with the rest of your class. It's worth having that on somewhere else.
We could put that in the media centre.
Yeah, and that would be a really good IT focus for one of your groups.
Definitely.
We're made very aware of the resources that are available so that if we need to use them, we can, and they're there for us to enhance our lessons rather than replace, you know, the learning objective.
I think we're trusted to use our own professional judgment to decide if it's appropriate to what we're doing, if it fits with our children.
I think it's important to recognise that if you really want people to sing from the same song sheet, then they have to have a part to play within the organisation. And if I'm there telling them at every step of the way, do this, do that, take that next step, then what's the part they're playing?
Which question have you got to then?
We've got number 5.
As part of Brenda's distributive approach to leadership, everyone is encouraged to be a leader. Kirsten Pavley heads up a science and DT project with her Year 5s.
They're creating quizzes for the Year 2 children. These kids have had to sort of get the questions pitched at the right level and understand the curriculum that Year 2 are actually studying so that they can actually get some questions that are relevant to what they're doing at the moment.
Yes.
So don't forget, they have to know if they got it right, don't they? So give it a grade.
It makes you feel quite grown up, but it also gives you a nice feeling to know that you're helping some younger children.
It's about everyone understanding that they have a leadership potential of their own. I'm including children in that. And I'm hoping that my job is to foster that. And I think that's critical because if you try to sit on it, then it dies a death. So you recognise it, you work with it, and hopefully you inspire future growth.
The next major development for the school started in 2005.
I think the final, if you like, step for us was to develop our learning platform. You can't do that unless you have an amount of confidence, an amount of competence in the school, because every teacher and every teaching assistant is involved in the development of the learning resources on that learning platform.
We call it Lent-Rise Learning World. It's a secure platform for the children, parents and community to be able to access.
It made sense to give children first remote access to learning. That's where we started. You know, a child who's at home, maybe a child who's not well, you know, if they've got some learning resources that they can access, then you're keeping learning going, you're keeping that enthusiasm for learning.
In the pupil zone, we've got all the year bands here. And so, for example, if I go into year 2, we've got a section for their homework. The children go into their science homework here, and the teachers set it up so that the activity is open on the correct date.
The best thing about the learning world is that once you've done your homework, the teachers will mark it. So maybe the next week you can look back on what you've done and see what the teacher has to say on what you've done, and you can show your parents and they can help you improve what the teacher has to say.
And then, having done that with children, we suddenly thought, well, actually we can give parents access to more too.
In the parent zone, we've got topic challenges, which are linked to the curriculum areas that the children are studying. So the idea is to engage the parents in the children's learning. So, for example, here in year 1, it's to find interesting facts about the local area.
So we now have a parent zone, we have a children's zone, we have a governor zone, and it's just become this huge resource that I think really shows how IT can make you a hub.
The school has a cyber cafe, which pupils use if they don't have home internet access. Jill also runs weekly cyber cafe sessions for parents with their children.
I've been running the Cyber Cafe Club for a number of years. Quite open with the parents when they come to the first session that they attend and say, what would you like to get out of this? Do you want to learn about what your children are doing in school? Do you want to learn how to use email? And the key to it is they have to attend with their child.
Looking at the kind of resources they have, because they often come home and say, I did this today, or we used this particular thing today, and it's good to actually see exactly what they are doing. And it's amazing how much they pick up, So, yeah, she really enjoys it. You did number 4. Okay. Press play. There, that's it.
A recent survey suggests the majority of families in the school do have internet access. So for pupils like George, doing his weekly science homework online is no problem.
Okay, let's go down to science homework. Okay, think carefully about what the following parts do. The roots of a flower for.
The roots are for to take goodness up and water up it.
For George, it's his favourite homework of the week. I think because there's the fun element to it.
Because when I learn things, I like it when I share them with her, because you can do it more easily, because I'm not very good at spelling, but with pencils.
Let's go and have a look at what your teacher said about last week's homework. For me, I like it because it is a direct link with the school. Talking to the teachers via the internet feels as if I'm face to face with them. So we're learning together. She said, well done, George. You thought carefully about your answers.
I think what the VLE, our learning platform, has done is to predominantly engage parents with their own child's learning. I think that to me has been the best thing of all.
Even though this is the first time we've done this. Do you press that?
So what's the future for Lent Rise?
Okay, maybe it's a silly idea. Nintendos. I see some potential. What I don't want it to be is add-on. It's very difficult to know where you're going tomorrow. And actually, I think my job is more about evaluating the new technologies. And if we think it's going to add to what we're offering here, we'll bring it in.